There is a commonly debated question in the toy community. What is the best playset from the 1980s? There are many reasonable answers to choose from, such as the Dungeons & Dragons Fortress of Fangs, Mask's Boulder Hill, the cult classic Firehouse Headquarters from the real Ghostbusters, and the legendary Castle Grayskull from Masters of the Universe. But there is one playset from the 80s that outshines them all. One that is just so mind-blowing, so impressive, and very hard to obtain. That's right, today I will be reviewing the G.I. Joe Mobile Command Center. That's right, the Mobile Command Center is the playset of the 80s that I just love the most. It's just so big and imposing, and to give you a quick size comparison, here's the included G.I. Joe figure, which are 3 3/4 inch scale. Yeah, this thing is gargantuan. It's definitely one of the crown jewels in my collection. And I paid about $482 for this set. And I thought it was complete, but I literally didn't find out until just today that it's actually missing a few very minor parts. On the top there's a missile launching platform that flips out. And there's actually a seat with some console detail right there. And sorry if this playset's a little dusty, because it's just really big and old and I don't really use it as much as I probably should. Now I get the figure in there, and it's not the #1 best fit for a figure, but you can do that. And then you just flip this back, you fold this on top, and then you fold this, and that falls off. Here's how it looks with the missile launcher displayed, and it looks really cool until you see the dangling legs. But anyway, here are some grooves, like these things here, and they're designed to hold the missiles. And unfortunately, I'm missing an extra set of missiles, which aren't really essential to play value, but I guess the idea that designers had in mind is that when you pretend fire and have one of these missiles just fly off somewhere, a figure could grab one of the missiles that would be down here or there and install it for there to reload or something. And it's a really cool idea, and this missile launcher is pretty well executed, and you can even move it back and forth. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but you can move it around, and this can spin around, which is awesome. And even these parts can go up and down, but you have to be careful, because if you adjust them in the wrong angle, try and move it around, it'll bump into something and missiles or parts are gonna pop off, but nothing will break.
The 4th of July is supposed to be a day to celebrate independence.
But we haven't been free of the horrors of humanity.
Once trapped, the toy unleashes its angels to feed on those who don't worship it. We will truly have independence.
We will be looking at the top once again a little later, but for now let's move to the front of the Mobile Command Center. And as you can see, the front is well armed to the teeth. It's got these removable missiles and this big radar dish, and you can angle it and adjust it any way you want for play value, and that is just really cool. And now at the front here, there's supposed to be some kind of grid sticker or some kind of targeting sticker on this front windshield, but it wasn't included on this copy. And apparently the seller told me that he worked on restoring the Mobile Command Center to complete as much as he could and then sell it, but it was still missing the stickers and those extra missiles. And yeah, please excuse the dust on this thing. I tried to clean as much as I could, but there's some spots I couldn't get. But anyway, on the side you got these big guns, and on this side here too, and you got this bumper. Now unfortunately, you can't really roll this on the ground as well as you'd want to, because this bumper really gets in the way, and this thing is on wheels, and these are fake treads. But this thing is capable of rolling on the ground, but I highly don't recommend it. But anyway, you can open this up, and there's room for 3 figures. Usually, I just have Steamroller, the included figure, just sit in the middle, and then I close the canopy. and he just sits there pretty much for most of the time I've ever had this thing. These guns can move side to side. On this side of the playset, there is this elevator piece that goes all the way up. And the idea is that you can open this door, put a figure in there. Sorry, it's a little hard to do with holding the camera with my hand. And you just close it. While filming, I found it easier to just have the figure slide in and out of the elevator. But now what you can do is that you just lift him up, and he goes up, 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 and up. You can go a little higher up. Come on. There you go. And the idea is that he goes on from the top. Now, obviously, you gotta move these out of the way. At least move that piece out of the way. And supposedly he can go in there. But there's no actual realistic way to do it other than to have him climb his way and get onto the command center. Now, despite being a heavily armored mobile fortress, there are these gaps in here that exposes figures if this thing was going around the desert or something, and Cobra snipers can get them from a distance. So that wasn't really well thought out. Maybe they could have had like some sliding door panels or something that you just like this way or this way, kind of just to cover it a little bit better. I think that would have been pretty cool. And at the back, you just got those hinge pieces that activate the open up feature. And at the bottom, you have these orange missiles. They can swirl around, and you can, they come off very easily, so do be careful when you touch them. And you can, you know, shoot one off at something from behind. So that is a really cool feature. Here's a better look at it at the other side. Once again, though, those things that will hold the vehicle playset in place when it's all opened up. And while at it, I'm gonna prep it right now by kind of unhooking some of these parts here. Mainly it's this one you want to unhook, because without it, it'll be really hard to open up. And I also have deployed the missile launcher just to make things a little bit easier. And for a quick size comparison before I open it up, here it is next to the Origins Castle Grayskull. Is the entire playset completely transformed, or actually I won't say completely because this door has to open first. And this door can come off very easily when you're opening and closing, so it is a little annoying, but let's just leave it like that for now. But let's do our tour from the bottom up. So right here is the main play area. It's kind of like this giant garage type place. This place also serves as the main engine room for the mobile command center, and I just love the detail on this thing. It just looks so awesome. There is a bunch of excessive stuff here, but they all serve their purpose. There is this coiled up hose pump thing, but I don't really use it because it's really hard to take out and uncoil. And when I do, things pop off and it's just really annoying. So what I use, if I were to play with it, are these other hoses. And the idea is that you can take something small like an armadillo, and it has a little port there. What you can do is that you can actually plug it in there, and you can pretend that you're filling up gas for your little vehicles. And that is probably the most unique play feature in this entire playset. And yes, there is a little handle there, so if you want a guy to hold it to make it look a little more realistic, you can totally do that. And now you got this giant crane claw thing, and I think the idea is that you can pick up that engine block over there, but this thing doesn't really want to move, and I do not want to risk breaking this very expensive piece. So I guess what you can do is you can take it off yourself and kind of hook it on there if it wants to do that. There you go. And while this engine block isn't compatible with the armadillo, you can use it on the All Striker, which is a vehicle I currently do not own. And then on this side here, we got a bunch of spotlights and guns, and I don't know where the official place for these are to go, but the idea is that you can just put them wherever you so desire. So let's just put this one here. Can it go here? Alright, that one goes there. And I just put all these little pieces pretty much wherever I just felt looked cool. And there you go. And here's one last look at the garage and engine room. And now we're going to move on to the next level. So over here is a combination of things. Right here is a jail cell. To demonstrate this, what you gotta do is you lift this up, and you just got this little thing and the little seat, and you can take a figure like this, his tank driver, and you just slide it down, and bam, he's in jail now. That is just so brutal. I know this is just a toy, but I can't help but feel bad for the Cobra prisoner, because I think it was the 83 or 84 headquarters that had a jail cell section, but even in there, the guys could stretch out their legs and have some room in there. Here, it's just super cramped up. They might as well be in a tin can. And you got some beds here, which can flip upward. Kind of look like machinery, but I think the sticker is actually misplaced. I think it's supposed to be on this bottom section, but it's not. Here's how it looks with two Joes resting on the beds. And then you got this really cool little grid thing here. It's like some kind of map or radar of some sorts. I kind of get Star Wars vibes from it. And then you got this computer and some old-fashioned tape machine things. I don't know the official name of them, but I like to put mainframe on the chair and have him look like he's like doing some work. And on the other side, you've got another one. So what you can do is have it kind of slide back and forth. It's kind of hard to do because it's like really tight, but you can have mainframe or practically anybody, maybe Dalton could do this too. Well, you can just turn that around, and it's like I said, really hard to do, but you just gotta be very careful. It can go further, but, well, you kind of get the idea. But it's still a really cool play feature. As innovative as this section is, I think it's a little jarring to have a prison cell right here, and presumably the guy inside will probably be screaming and freaking out how he can't breathe and it's too hot in there. And why would you have beds where people are supposed to sleep right next to the cell and then just be hearing the guy screaming things like, "Oprah will rule the world"? But I think it'd be more realistic if this could be used as like a place to take a shower, and then you have the guys right here. I think that'd be a little bit more realistic, but it's your imagination, it's your toy, do whatever you wish. Here's one last look at the second floor, and by far this is easily my favorite part of the playset. Now let's move up to the final floor, which is right here. And I've already covered this section in the beginning of the video because the whole missile launcher thing is still really cool. And here is where those missiles would be stored once again, and there's some over there. But it's not a huge deal and it's not that noticeable, but there are still some things to do up here that you can do now that's all opened up. The elevator piece is now moved to this section here, but it doesn't really stay there very well. It doesn't really lock into place, and sometimes I find that when I'm like playing around with it, like, okay, it locks in now, but sometimes it just slides around and it slides right off, and it's just not the most well thought out play feature, but for now it's in there locked. So that's cool. And now here is a helipad where supposedly something small like a Skyhawk could land. I don't have a Skyhawk to demonstrate, but I've heard that the Skyhawk actually doesn't fit on here very well, which is strange because that was the smallest air vehicle that was released at the time for the Joes. By far my favorite part of this, the top section, has to be this black spot here. Now, if you look carefully here, it says warning, floor separates here. And there's a little button here. What you do, have a figure stand on that spot, and then there's that button over there, and what you can do, I'm gonna get kind of low to the ground to kind of demonstrate, but when you push the button, it activates a secret escape. I hope this works. And bam! He has slid out of the command center, and now he can escape and do what he wants. I think it's just such a cool way to implement a slide for your action figures, and it's also another way that the Joes can have fun in their free time. So that is just so cool. And so here's how it looks on the side with the playset all opened up. And as you can see, it's very tackle box like. And here is a look at the back of the playset, and it's not really much to see. I was kind of concerned that I wouldn't really be able to show much from the back because my room is so small and this thing is so big. But there you go. Once again, for size comparisons, here it is next to Origins Castle Grayskull, this time with both playsets opened up. It's worth pointing out that the only part of the playset that has foot pegs is at the bottom level, but anywhere else there is none, so if you plan to display or just play around with your Joes, make sure you have a compatible figure stand to go with them. Now that we have looked at pretty much everything this playset has to offer, here is the included figure Steamroller. Now, he is quite an interesting fella. I'll get the camera to focus. He's got a hat that says dog. He's got orange hair, eyebrows, and eyes. He's got a six-pack or something. He's like super jacked up. And he's got this vest with grenades. That kind of makes me think of Demoman from TF2. And he's got this tattoo that has a heart and a knife going through it. I wonder what that means. He's got a gun and a holster on his belt that he cannot take out. He's got some beige pants. He's got, looks like, brown shoes that are nicely detailed. That's how he looks from the back. And now he comes with only one accessory, this infamous knife. Now the reason I say infamous is because of all of the many pieces that can easily get lost on this playset, this knife is the worst offender. I've seen this single accessory all by itself being sold for up to $85. Yikes. Articulation, he's got that movement at the head. Arm can rotate 360, can go out that far. You have a bicep swivel, bend at the elbow. You got the O-ring, which allows him to move around pretty well. He can spread out well. And he's got bend at the knee. And I actually do have the file card for this guy. And it's right here. Pause and read if you like. I can get the camera focused. There you go. Pause and read if you like. Overall, this playset is grand and epic. I just can't get over how awesome this thing is. And I love it to the point that I feel like I don't even deserve it. But in my opinion, this is the ultimate 80s playset, and I may even say it's the greatest playset in all of toy history. What do you think of this playset? Do you want it in your collection, or did you have it as a child? I would love to hear your comments. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the flip side.